Welcome to Bleav In 76ers with your hosts, former 76ers point guard Eric Snow and two Sixers fanatics in Marcus and Teja Dash. Bleav In 76ers is presented by BetOnline.AG.
BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way to wager on all your favorite sports, contests, and events with first-to-market odds and lines. Find reviews and news for every league, including Major League Baseball, NFL, NBA, NHL, combat sports, esports, and even golf. BetOnline continues to be the top online resource for all your sports information, from live in-game betting, props, and futures. Head to BetOnline today or use your mobile device to join today and make your first sports bet. Use our promo code BLEAV50, that's BLEAV50, to receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. BetOnline, where the game starts. Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Bleav In 76ers podcast. I'm Marcus Dash. I'm here with our hosts, former legendary 76ers point guard Eric Snow and my brother Teja Dash. Gentlemen, how we doing?
Good. How are you?
Good. You get a chance to see Harden get that interception last night?
Nice. The Eagles games are fun.
Yeah. Did you go to a lot of Eagles games when you were playing up there?
Quite a few. I wouldn't say a lot, but I went to. It was just so much to get there and do all that. Sometimes it's just better watching them at home.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I went to. I tried to go to a few in September, kind of before our season really started. I didn't go to many during the season, unless the schedule kind of worked its way out. But yeah, I went to quite a few.
Any memorable ones you remember going to? No.
Not really. I went to enough of them that none really stood out.
Yeah.
That was the Reed era, though. That's a pretty good era to go to, and for Philly.
Yeah, I mean, I know they won most of the games I went to, except one time they lost to the Cohosts. Peyton and I was there.
Oh, that's a good game to go to, though. Even that one.
And Marvin Harrison was giving the fans
Marvin Harrison
giving the fans something to remember before the game.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say
before the game. Yeah. It was pretty interesting to see.
That's funny. Now his son is giving people something to remember.
Yeah. No, it wasn't about talent though.
Yeah.
Something to remember.
There was a thing that came up this weekend with the Cardinals and the Raiders game. At the end of the game, Kyler Murray went to the stands and he got hit by an opposing team's fan, the Raiders fan. But Shannon Sharp brought up a good point. He said, as a player, there's certain opposing teams, but I guess whether there's a Cardinals section or not, there's certain opposing teams you don't want to go into the audience, even if you won the game or not, you're celebratory. He goes, you just know, especially Raiders, you don't want to go and do that. Was there a kind of a fan base in the NBA that you knew like you wouldn't want to go to to celebrate with the team at an opposing team's fan base and an opposing team's stadium?
Besides Philly?
Yeah, I was gonna say he played for one of them.
Yeah.
Hey, depending on how you played, you might want to be a home team.
Yeah, I mean, you could be a home team and, you could be the home. You could play for the Sixers and still feel the same way. At times, I had teammates that, didn't like playing at home, so I get it.
Yeah.
I mean, Philly was that team. Outside of Philly, maybe Boston.
Oh.
Fans were confrontational. The time when I played in Philly, the Pacers were like that. Or maybe they were like that with us because we played them so many times. And New York isn't. Fans were into it, but they weren't like that.
Detroit?
Yeah. I mean, Detroit kind of get the history from that whole thing, but it was more. I didn't get the feel for Detroit. Like, hey man, these people crazy. Crazy when we walked to the locker room. Like, I didn't get that feel. I really only got that sort of in Boston. You get that feel, and I definitely got it in Philly. I've been to Philly as a player and as an opponent. You kind of feel it that way, even when you play in there. Even though they give us love, you still be like, man. You kind of see the way they treat other teams. You be like, oh, alrighty.
They're just on edge all the time.
Yeah, it's almost like a college environment. You know what I'm saying?
Cool,
like college environments are like that. Most college environments, especially Power 5 and when they have more of a they play teams so often,
rivalry.
And it's just different. Like everything can be a rivalry, but when you play that same team over and over again, whereas in the pros you play that same team, but it's different going to Philly. And I don't go to as many games now because I'm usually somewhere with my children in their games. But Philly has always kind of been like that. Boston's been like that. I heard other places were like that before I came in the league or when I was younger. But those two stood out. Yeah, I don't see any other place that was like that. I mean, fans got loud, and there's places that are louder. But as far as you want to be careful going into the crowd, maybe they say that the Northeast teams, it's different.
I just feel like I feel like in football bleachers too, in the stands, it's so like Wild West, man. Like,
I mean, but he didn't go in the stands. Like, I don't really.
No. Yeah, that situation. No, I'm just saying in general. Whenever you see, you don't see that many like fights the way you see like every week. I see like 6 or 7 videos on Twitter of people just getting knocked out in football games. You don't see that often in basketball. They had the famous Suns and 4 guy. But other than that,
I think the major difference between basketball and football is they don't tailgate and get drunk before they go into the arena.
Yeah.
So that's something to think about.
Yeah.
A lot of those places even sell liquor inside.
In fact, when you do see them, you see them when people are leaving. They're at their most drunk because they finally reached the tailgate period at the end of the basketball game. So at the end of the basketball game,
and also the way the game goes has something to do with it because it's usually
you think so, but I see Dodger fights every day. They're great.
People are cheering for other teams and opposite teams. Like I can remember, it was always different when we would play a home game versus New York and Boston. It was always different. No matter the record, no matter what it was like the environment and the atmosphere was like always extra.
It's electric.
So you kind of know, home and away. It was like that. So that extra environment, atmosphere, and people kind of into it. It's on the floor and it's in the arena as well. So you come over there and not to say anything is wrong or right, but if I know when we've gone to those places and won and vice versa, the people that are cheering for the visiting teams are a little extra, especially when your team wins.
Yeah.
And people take that, all it takes is one person to say something shady or crazy, and then there you go. That's how it starts. So imagine in football, when you got even more people and more people that's been a little tipsy or whatever. To me, that's how it escalates.
And it's generally a more physical sport. So you're watching like crash. You're drinking, you're pounding beers, and you're like looking for something to do. I think it's crazy how I get opposing fans, but dude, I see every week now like fans of the same team just fighting, like punching each other in the face. Like, dude, the one time you guys can be cool with each other, the one time you can get together for 3 hours as at a game where you're a fan of the same team. And what's wrong with people?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That just shows you society's going out the door when you got fans of the same team fighting at their own game when you're winning. It's like, man.
I mean, this for a fan to like reach and hit someone or reach and like it's not like you reached and want to shake his hand or tap him on the shoulder or something, but like for that to be your reaction, that's emotional. You know what I'm saying? It's emotional and it's like thoughtless for you to be able to do something that we all know whomever did it would not see him on the street and think about doing that.
Yeah.
I saw one from the Steelers yesterday. The guy was just talking. I don't know if you guys saw this. He was talking to the fan, and his wife got in the way, and so obviously started mouthing off to him. And he's trying to look over the wife and talk to the dude, and you can hear them. And she like touches him. And he's like, "Don't touch me." And then he's like, "Don't touch me." Kind of brushes her off. She smacks him. Dude, he punches her in the face. Like he just like, and he tries to keep going at her, and then the husband gets in the way. And they start going at it, and he knocks the husband out, like cold, like just out. Like, dude, it's like a 20-second video. I'm like, oh my God, dude,
this was crazy. Yesterday? I mean,
it was Sunday, the Pittsburgh game. Yeah. Man, yeah, go Steelers fight. Again, I'm sure it'll come up. Man, it's crazy. Dude, he just like unloads on her, and she actually took it better than the husband did. I think she took it pretty well, actually. She stayed standing.
Man.
So he punched the wife, and she didn't get knocked out, but he punched the husband.
She gets like out of the way, but she comes back in. But then the husband's like, "All right, like get the hell out of the way now." It's like and he had the upper ground. They're just swinging wildly, right? But the dude connects on one, and then like he sits down in his chair and nails him again, and then at that point he's just like that, like out of it, like it does the whole like arm thing where he can't even like do anything. Yeah, man, I was like, "Oh my!" And I think they're both
the whole arm thing. What is that?
But he was dude,
like it's a way to get knocked out. Like
there's the knockout, and there's the one where you try to recollect yourself, and you're just like you're reaching for nothing out there, you know.
Oh man. Well,
it's becoming so normal to us to see it, though. That's the crazy thing. Like it used to be like, "Whoa, did you see that crazy fight?"
Well,
but
I think I understand what you're saying, but some of it is the normality isn't that the fights always happen. It was the fact that they're being recorded now.
Yeah.
But does that make it happen more often to know that you might be viral?
Probably,
but I also think that people are recording them because I know that I've seen fights going to games and never seen them again. So I don't think that part is as new. It may be a little more common, but I don't think it's that much more common. I just think that now, whereas back in the day, I'm just saying now versus back in the day. Back in the day, more people were more inclined to help break it up. Where now people see fights and they put up.
Everyone's doing this with their phones. Who can help?
Yeah, so a lot of fights really never got to that point, but because you had more people be like, "Hey, calm down, guys. Let's kind of separate." I think now people be like, "Well, y'all go ahead."
There's a lot more. Yeah, there's a lot more instigator because everyone wants to be the person to post a viral tweet later on about the fight.
Yeah,
which is it's sad, and I think that actually makes because I mean, okay, you went to a game and you got showed up by somebody, whatever. You'll never see them again. Goodbye. I'll see you. I'll see you in hell. Yeah. But now it's like, oh shit! Like people think in their heads, oh wow, millions of people are going to see me get shown up on internet later on. Great. Now I got to do something about it. So it probes people to kind of like be more aggressive, thinking they're going to be viral cowards.
You can still end up being viral even though you don't want to be.
Yeah, I know it's terrible, man.
It's awful.
You're always on camera.
Yeah. Yeah, well, some of those videos though, that I think the funniest part is the guy who's recording it, who's instigating. He's like, "Oh shoot, like you're gonna let him do that to you, man?" And like the other guy like just gets up and like will try to fight back.
Or you can hear him police it. You can hear police it. Even in this one, they were yelling at the dude for hitting the woman, obviously. But you can hear a bunch of people in the back going, "She hit him first. She hit him first. You can't don't get mad at him. Don't kick him out. She did it to him first. He's retaliating." It's crazy.
Yeah. Well, long story short, we're excited to see the Philly fans back in the building to watch some Sixer games this year.
It's football season. That's what that means.
Yep.
Nice.
But okay, so the first topic tonight, with the offseason moves all but finished, except for waiving players to get under the roster limit. Although I've seen some rumors about Jay Crowder possibly getting traded for a 2-for-1. That's what I've heard, but I'm not going to throw our name in there. What do you think are team's biggest weaknesses heading into the season? So, I mean, yeah. So, what are you most worried about going into the season, Eric?
Well, I think, I got to be honest. My biggest issue, or not really issue, my biggest concern, is really my biggest concern the way last year ended. I think we got better from a player and personnel standpoint, but the 3-point shooting around your best players to me is still the biggest probably concern. But I've said before, that's a premium. Shooting is a premium. It's hard to find. I mean, everyone's looking for it at all times.
Yep.
So getting guys to shoot at a high clip from three, I think we have some guys that are capable of doing it. But coming into the season, I wouldn't necessarily say that's a strength. I hope it ends up being one, but I don't think going into the season, that's necessarily the strength. That would be my biggest concern right now.
Maybe Matisse Thybulle went to Teja Dash shooting school this summer. He becomes a 38% 3-point shooter. Maybe, right?
You haven't even heard my comments yet.
Yeah, I mean, that's possible. I mean, guys can always step it up because they're going to have the opportunities playing with the top players that we have, or top 2 or 3 or 4 players that can all go get theirs and create and score. Yep. So the opportunities for other guys, and even those guys to get clean looks, are going to be there in a higher volume, a high amount of attempts. Now, how consistent we are at knocking them down will help us, moving forward. I think that'll be a big deal for us because it will it will give other teams a tough predicament on how to defend us. So I would imagine most teams are going to pack it in and make us prove it. So at least if I'm coaching against us, that's how I'm approaching it. Until, you're proving it's sort of like the football analogy with Patrick Mahomes, where all the teams are now saying, oh, you're just going to have to run the ball and throw the ball short. I kind of see that's how teams are going to approach us, especially early on. So the more guys we can have shooting at a high clip, the better.
Teja, where are you going with this?
So I think we tackled toughness and rebounding this offseason. I think I'd like pretty much what he said, just differently. I think we need a playable wing shooter who can also defend a bit. I think we lost that in not having Danny Green around. I know we have Tucker, who's great at corner threes and he can defend, but I have a feeling Tucker's going to be played down low and small ball 5 and playing 4s. Consistent wing defense and a guy who can shoot. I think we do need that. Every team needs that, right? Like you said, they're at a premium. So basically a bench 3 and D winger. I would say, you said the magic word, Marcus. If Thybulle can hit over like 38%, I think that's good enough for me to have that. I'm not asking for top 10 in the league.
But analytics says 33% is good.
Yeah, let's aim for the stars, Eric, and then let's hit the roof.
Hey, 33% is 50% from 2.
Yeah.
I just want, how about just improvement? I want an improvement from Thybulle. Give me a percentage or 1 or 2 percentage points, Thybulle uptick, and I think that'd be good. If I was going to look for like a player to add for what I want, I would say like Justin Holiday would be a check mark for me. A decent defender, pretty good clip at catch and shoots. that would be the kind of guy I would say we would need to add, and that'd be a great bench piece. But I don't think there's anything else we really need right now. If we were going to add a cheap version of that, yeah, Holiday, but down the line, maybe scoring issues off the bench. But I think Melton can take another step up in his development and where he's going. And then we have Harrell now, who's a good bench scorer in short spurts. So I don't really think that is a problem right now.
Yeah, I think when you say bench scoring, that's where I kind of think that's going to have to be adjusted by Doc. And the reason I'm saying
the lineups, you mean?
Yes, is splitting up the minutes between your top four guys.
Mm-hmm.
So
I agree with that.
I think you got to find a way to showcase, Maxey, Tobias, showcase them a little more when James and especially Joel's out the game.
Staggering those lineups is going to be huge.
And having maybe keeping at least two on the court at the same time, you can accomplish that. But I just think that some of that scoring that we're saying should be bench scoring is really going to have to come from those four kind of spreading the wealth. If Maxey's going to be the guy that we all say he can be, then you got to find ways to kind of get that out of him. And I think that's a way for that to happen. Tobias, Teja, you keep saying he needs to do more. Well, some of him doing more is the opportunities. That's some of it is that. So that's why I wasn't really on the scoring thing as much, because I just feel like that has to come from a game planning standpoint. The Holiday thing would be great. I just think the more you add a guy like that, the more you pulling from someone that's already there. I don't think it's a compliment for what we have. It's like, okay, well, Holiday's here. Well, now who's not going to play? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, we already have a log jam problem.
Yeah. So it's almost like now, like we could try to go in right now and we could probably pull the top 9 and then have a 10th as far as the rotation. We could all probably figure that out on our own. How it plays out, that's the tough part.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ultimately, are they going to start PJ and Tobias together? We don't know. Are they going to play Daniel House and Thybulle? We don't know.
Yeah. I think that first sub off the bench is splitting up Harden and Maxey.
It got to be Melton. I mean, Melton has to be the one because you have to split up Maxey and Harden's minutes.
Yeah.
Which means you got to have one of them on the court at all times.
Mm-hmm.
You can play a whole game, you play a full game, and one of them are out there. And that's the way you do it. And that's Melton helps balance that.
Yeah.
You're pretty much going with a 3-guard lineup as far as minutes. That's 96 minutes between 3 guys. Maxey could probably, especially early on, probably play the most minutes. And then early on in the season, you'll bring a 4th player in that rotation probably to get, 5 to 10 minutes to push their minutes down some more.
Yep.
And that's how, maybe there'll be some games where they'll get overextended, and the schedule will allow that to me. If you feel like you got a day off or days off, you can probably stretch them a little more. If not, you can pull them back. But, I just think we got to be playing 10 guys early in the season. Who that 4th guard, because Thybulle's going to play, House is going to play, PJ's going to play, Tobias, and the 2 bigs. Those guys are going to play. Melton's going to play. Who's going to be that 4th guard?
Yeah, that 10th man that you're talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it'll come down
it may be a rotating player.
It's tough. Yeah. Shake, Burke. Niang at 4. I mean, we want shooting. So that's tough. I mean, that's...
We forgot about Niang too. I mean, he gives us something that you need. So Niang may very well push players down, meaning like push Tobias or PJ down to 3 and Daniel House to a 2-3, and that pushes, you know what I'm saying? That pushes everybody down. Because you're already locked in the 5 position. So now everybody's pretty much fighting for those, you know. Thybulle's a guy that can guard 2s. So even though he's not really a scoring guard, if he can, you are typically what you can defend. So
it'll be interesting. Yeah, there's a lot of,
you know what I'm saying? Like it could be a Niang that pushes everybody down more so than a 4th guard.
Yeah, especially if you're going to have either Maxey or Harden on the floor most times, then Melton splitting them up. And then, it's a great training camp battle. A lot of battles that go on. I mean, that's tough. That 10th man minutes. That's really good. I mean, yeah, even Isaiah, if you're looking for shooting, even Isaiah Joe. I mean, if you're talking about a guy who can just light it up on the scoreboard.
He gave himself, to me, he did enough this summer to at least get a chance to compete.
Absolutely.
So,
hey, one good thing about being deep is don't run your guys ragged. You know, if Harden's got tired legs, rest. I mean,
I just think that you can't play more than 10. I mean, unless you got guys that aren't playing 30 minutes a game, which, in order to win, I believe we're going to have to.
Yeah.
Doc's going to have fun splitting up lineups, too. That'll be fun staggering those to see which ones work, which ones don't, stuff like that.
Yeah. It's a night and day, or depth, night and day from what it was last year, which is this is an amazing problem to have. The problem, what we're talking about right now, the 10th guy. So it's good.
Yeah. Some teams are worried about their 6th or 7th guy. We're worried about our 10th guy. It's not even a worry about who's going to do it. I mean, it's a competition. Like we actually have a competition for that 10th man minutes, which is definitely a good problem to have.
100%. So going forward, so this time next week, when we have our next show, our guys are going to be reporting to training camp for the first week of training camp in Charleston, South Carolina. They'll be working out at Citadel or the Citadel University. So this is something that Doc's done a lot in his years in Boston, LA. He always did kind of destination type of training camps where they would go. I think he went to Europe one year with the Boston. I think they went to Rhode Island when he was with the Clippers. I mean, he's kind of gone all over the place with his teams in the past. And he's been trying to do this for a few years now. With COVID, he wasn't able to do that with the Sixers. So this is the first time he's been able to do that. So my question, Eric, is what are the pros to not being at home for training camp?
I mean, Philadelphia is the only place that I was at that we went away for training camp.
Interesting.
Seattle, we didn't, and Cleveland, we didn't. Most of the teams provide hotels for you when you have the 2-a-days, so you don't have to go back and forth. I didn't really see anything wrong with like a pro. To me, the biggest pro is that you have a chance to create that bond because it's just you all. So you hang out, you go out to eat together, you're together all the time. It's probably the most togetherness you would have during the whole season because it's just you all. So I can remember we went to several places, but one particular place, when we went to Penn State, we did almost everything together because we were at Penn State. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's like a college campus. Like it's really nothing we can do, but we were there. We went to Penn State football games. We went out to eat. We sort of had our routine. But it is training camp, so you got to rest up. You can't do as much. But to me, it's really just the bonding that you can get with your team. But you can also accomplish that at home with guys staying in the hotel and going back and forth. So, but our training, I can see it more when I play more so than now, because it's so limited as far as how much you can practice. And I mean, limited on the 2 days you can have, where it was no restrictions with us. So
Wild West.
We went all day. So it was kind of helpful to be right there. So you didn't have to drive, you didn't have to do anything. You would come down from the lobby, pick you up, take you to the gym. So it was convenient. You didn't have you get back to the hotel, they got meals for you, or you can go out to eat, and they kind of everything is there for you. It's sort of like, football is like training camp, everything is right there. For playing when I played, I think it worked out better because it helps you kind of eliminate a lot of stuff and a lot of, that extra driving or getting stuck in traffic or coming there and then having to go home. And, it was, say for instance, you stayed 30 minutes away, that's an hour there and back.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Whereas if you're 2-minute drive in practice, that's 4 minutes. That's the difference. That's a pro as far as being able to take advantage of your time and the bonding.
I feel like when you're going out of town too, you're kind of saying ahead of time bond, right? Whereas like if you're just having a training camp, it's just all right, it's training camp. But when you're saying, okay, we're going out, it feels like that's already kind of an expected thing, an expectation that, team building, ahead of time. But yeah, I would say less distractions, chemistry building, camaraderie. We have the makings of a really tight team. Beside the fact that, Harden recruited about 5 of these guys because he's already like best friends with them. So that's cool. But just in general, I just think I want to get to the point where they can just scold each other on the court and there are no hurt feelings or any kind of Spoelstra versus Butler fights. I want there to be complete, just on the same page, same goal in mind, everything. I feel like this could help us get there. They're already tight to a degree, but I think they can get even tighter and be one, as cliche as that sounds. I will say though, Doc did this in Boston. Yeah, they really helped with some of those teams. I mean, like
they won one of the years they
did, but there's some of those guys are still feuding to this day. I mean, like
I think a lot of it's going to come down to
Garnett, Pearson, Allen. Still, can't be in the same.
A lot of it's going to come down to the players, and from this standpoint, it's not going to really be up to Doc how this plays out when they leave.
Yeah.
Whether they're going to build the respect, build the trust, whether that's going to be there. The more that respect and trust is there and you show people you care for them, the more you have that, the better situation it'll be. The guy will be able to say something to someone without them taking it personally. But in that guy saying something, he needs to be able to represent, what he says. The last thing you want is a guy telling you need to play hard and he doesn't play hard. That's when the issues come. So that situation really doesn't matter if you go somewhere else or not. If you're going to develop that trust and respect and the care. So, they're going to have that, no matter if they're going to, South Carolina or like the Lakers when I played going to Honolulu. So it really doesn't matter.
It's cool to have in those cases, it's cool to have a guy like Embiid who pretty much like gives himself out every night and throws his body around. So it's like your leader does it by example, and Tucker's another outspoken guy, but that guy lays it out there too. So we have a few guys who just lay it out there who don't take plays off. So it's cool to have that in the locker room.
Yeah. I mean, but that has to be the majority.
Mm-hmm. That has to be everybody.
That to be your culture in your locker room.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Now is the traveling, because you said you only did the destination training camp with the Sixers. Is that like an old school coach thing? Because I mean, Coach Brown, old school guy. Doc probably come from the same cloth.
I had George Karl in Seattle, and he didn't do it.
Yeah,
interesting.
But Seattle was also one of the first teams that really like had their own practice facility back when I played. So we had a practice facility with 2 courts. So it was just, why go somewhere, and we got this right here.
Yeah.
So they got us hotel rooms that were like right across the street from the practice facility.
Okay.
And when they did that, we ended up you just stay at the hotel and go over there for
Starbucks and playing basketball.
Guys would go home because a lot of people stayed like in Bellevue and Kirkland on the other side of the water, and it took a long time to get to practice. Like for an 8 a.m. practice, you had to leave really early. You get stuck on that expressway. It was, who knows when you were going to get there. So it provided, kind of a way for you to cut out all of the, the going back and forth, especially in between practices. So I know a lot of guys stayed at home at night, stayed at the hotel in between. I did that in Cleveland. In Seattle, I was a young guy. I was by myself most of the time. I just stayed at the hotel overnight because, I had to be there so early before everybody came to get taped and do all that stuff.
Yeah, you don't want to be late.
Yeah, so I ended up staying over there, but that works out. That's fine too. It's just you have the, no matter at the end of the day, if you want to kick it and hang out, you're going to do it no matter where you are.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I know, I think the year we traded for Tobias and Jimmy Butler, I remember there was a whole thing that came out that Embiid kind of led the way and kind of having the chemistry and camaraderie. He was having everybody meet down like the hotel, like bars and stuff, and they were watching like other games together and stuff. And ironically, Simmons wasn't really a part of those. He didn't really come down for those.
We did that. We did that all the time. We used to. And then a lot of times you start doing it, the team will, back when we played, the team would kind of sense that we were doing it, and they would give us, be like, hey, we'll cover the bill. It was times we would go and our bill was paid.
Wow.
Nice.
But yeah, we did that a lot. And in Philly, it was like we didn't always have everybody, but it was
a group of you guys.
It was very common to see a group of us go out to eat. And that was like sort of the thing to do. Like we would go out to eat, watch some games, and then kind of, then you do your own thing from there. Some guys hung out, some people met up with people, and, we kind of did what you do, not putting any, that's how it is.
Yeah.
You kind of do what you do. From that point on, like after we eat, but at the end of the day, and shoot around come, you're ready.
Yeah.
I think Tobias was the orchestrator last year of that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So be curious to see. Well, maybe Harden takes that position now.
Yeah, it was like we didn't really. It was usually me or, you could say like it was me or Aaron, but it was usually we all did it together. So it wasn't really. We would be like, yeah, where are we going to eat? And then we kind of got to the point where you travel so much, like we kind of knew
who was down, who wasn't.
This is where we were going.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah. We went to Toronto. We would go to the, we stayed the Four Seasons. We would go to the Ruth Chris or the Morton's, whichever one was right across the street. So you just kind of knew that that's what we were doing. And, nobody really.
That's the point you want to get at, right? Where it just comes down to, hey, where are we going? Instead of like, let's organize this thing with like us. It's like you want to just like have it so you're already just hanging out all the time.
Yeah, we did it like we did it in Cleveland. I was a little older, so I didn't do it as much as some of the guys. But we were close in that group in Cleveland. Seattle, I was playing with a bunch of old men in Seattle. Like I would go out and with different guys, different times, but we never really had like collectively a bunch of guys going at the same.
Really?
Oh no, it's because they were just so
set in their ways.
Yeah, they were just so like different. Like they were just it was different back then.
It was just personality, or was it age?
No, it was just because guys were older. It was different. It was like I came out of my first year, my rookie year in Seattle. I was 22, and I Bleav my second or third year, I was still the youngest on the team.
Dang.
So, that never had. I would come in at 22 and be one of the older guys.
Never happened
nowadays,
before.
but yeah, it was just different like that. So, I came in. I know I was like 22, and I think Gary and Sean was like 28 and 27, and then almost everybody else on the team except maybe Big Irv or Chef was like another. Sherelle came in with me. Like I think it was just those three were the only three younger than those guys.
You're right. That was a pretty.
Everybody else was like in the 30s.
Man.
So it's just different.
And with the Sixers, you guys were all around the same age group that entire time.
Yes. The nucleus, we were all around the same age.
Mm-hmm.
That's where it was kind of different, especially for us. Like myself, Aaron, AI, and Theo, a lot of guys that all came in at the same time, were all around the same age.
Yeah, you're right, man. That's pretty older. That was definitely an older roster. You had a lot of guys. You had a lot of guys born in the early '60s on that roster, man.
Yes,
you got a lot of guys. You had. I didn't even know they had some of these guys on the team.
Yeah,
Craig. I don't remember Craig Elo on that team. Terry Cummings. I mean,
David Wingate, Hurst. Yeah, I had all those guys.
David Millen was 64. Sam Perkins was
Jerome Kersey over there. Like
Lev Shrimp was early 60s.
Mikowski, all them guys, man. They just
man.
I could hang out with all those guys. Like depending on where we go. Sam Perkins was my guy. So it's like, but I never really hung out with a lot of them at the same time. But it seemed like they were all grabbing me, like, all right, rookie with me this weekend. Like it was like each one of them kind of gave me something. Hersey was like, fatherhood, family guy. Sam Perkins was showing me how to dress. How to, belt
you're just big
matching.
smooth. You're getting the dressing advice from him.
Yeah. So, Nate, being leader and, leading your team. And Detlef was who I actually worked out with. Detlef.
Okay.
That's who I worked out with. So like Detlef was like a workout guy, financial tips. That all came from Detlef. Detlef used to be on the plane writing his checks and filling out bills. I'm like, dude, what are you doing? He would show me. And then that's what we got to do this stuff soon. Back then we didn't have the, just go online and kind of do your bills and all that stuff. You had to physically write a check. So, but yeah, it was David Wingate, it was great for me to show how to be a reserve, how to, sit over there and encourage your teammates and body language and face and
be professional.
All that doesn't matter. Yeah, man, it was, Greg Anthony showed me, like, it was like all them dudes like showed me something. I got something from all of them. So I wouldn't change my path for nothing. I know it's not made for everybody, but that path helped me out a great deal.
And even next year, you had Dale Ellis on your team.
Yep.
Man.
Yeah.
You guys got one guy who was actually older than everyone else on the team. You got one guy who was older than all these dudes. Damn.
Yeah.
You got Jerome Kersey that year too. You played with a lot of those vets of like the 90s, man.
Yes.
You got to play with a lot of them.
Yes. Every year I was in Seattle, we had older guys.
Man. Yeah, that's quite a collection of older vets, dude. Vin Baker is one of the young dudes on your team.
Yeah, Van came with Sean left. So they were trading for each other.
That's right. Yeah, there you go. That makes sense. Yeah, man.
Yeah. That's cool.
That's great.
Okay, so for the final topic of the night, as we're talking about training camp, as a former NBA player, what does last week typically like entail before training camp starts up, Eric? Do you take a week off to be able to prepare for the season, or is it like, right before, school starts up again, your family takes a little vacation to the beach, and then you get back on Saturday, you got school on Monday? I mean, how does that work for last week before training camp?
It really depends on the player. Typically for me, I kind of, when the season ended, I took some time off. Then I would start cardio, on the court with not playing basketball games, just, drills and shooting. And then you eventually start playing basketball, maybe later in the summer, and you kind of August, and you take that until after Labor Day. And then usually after Labor Day, you start getting with players and trying to doing things together. And you kind of build that up until like the week before training camp. By that time, you should have built up pretty much most of your conditioning for training camp. Your strength and conditioning should have been built up. So the one thing I didn't do before training camp was I might have shot, but I didn't play much basketball. I would do cardio, but I didn't play any basketball at all the week before.
Was that more of a norm, or was that an Eric Snow thing?
It was more of a norm. Most guys pull back from basketball.
Interesting. Okay.
Just that week before, definitely the weekend before, but that week before, guys would maybe do drills and shooting, but not many people actually played basketball
over the summer.
Yeah, like no, that week before.
Oh, that week specifically. Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
the week before is what we're talking about. Like most guys, kind of stepped away from that. But guys, still, whatever you needed to kind of keep whatever you felt you needed to somehow keep your conditioning on that level, because really your conditioning was really truly about getting through training camp. That's what the conditioning was for. And training camp was to get you in basketball shape. That's what training camp was supposed to
shake off that rust, right?
Well, from a conditioning standpoint, so a lot of guys come in shape, but being in shape and being in basketball shape are two different things. So but you got to put yourself in position to go through training camp and the two-a-days and the rigorous amount of time going through that to then get in basketball shape to be able to now play 30, 40 plus minutes a game and play it at a high level.
Yeah, I think that's what Harden was alluding to when they were talking about every year and the differences and how like he's took this season and preseason and into the season to get into shape. Whereas I think this year it sounds like he's doing more what you did and what most players do, which is already kind of getting a good shape and then basketball shape at this time. Yeah. Whereas instead of like coming into camp not in shape at all and then using that to get in good shape and then using the season to get in basketball shape.
Yes.
So yeah,
their training camps are in the preseason are all shorter than ours were.
Which means you should probably become even more prepared now than you used to come, right?
Because you'll be into the games more often and you don't have as many preseason. We play 8 preseason games. Dang.
Yeah.
And training camp was 4 weeks. So we would have a training camp at least 10 days before we ever played a game, before we played a preseason game.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it wasn't fun.
I'm sure the coaches preferred it back then, though. More time to kind of
I'm sure
scheme, game plan, know what you're going to do. So like, oh my gosh,
a lot of them, didn't like preseason games. They felt like that was just an off day for guys. Like preseason games pretty much was an off day for us, because especially if they cut your minutes. But it's different. I mean, a lot of what we went through was the reason why a lot of the guys nowadays, they do have the time off because it was so hard on your body.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Well, based on the calendar I'm looking at here, it says Sixers go from Citadel September 27th to October 2nd. And then the next day they head to Brooklyn for the first preseason game, October 3rd, against Brooklyn for the open up the NBA preseason for us. So
you were never. What's that, Eric?
Simmons playing?
Don't know. He's apparently going to be on JJ Redick's podcast tomorrow, so I think we might get some insight on how things are going with him.
No, yeah, I'm just wondering, is he going to play? I would imagine he'll play in November, the game. I'm just, he's going to play early.
You would think, yeah.
That'll be a big topic on the show.
Did you ever, if players ever like splurging right before, like, I'm about to go into boot camp, so I may as well just, eat like crap and get some last cheesesteaks in and stuff like that in the last week.
No, I don't think guys would do it. I think because most guys, to be honest with you, back then we just the whole eating thing wasn't really quite as popular then as it is now.
What do you mean?
Guys were in shape, but they ate whatever they wanted to eat.
Mm. Oh, you mean like eating right wasn't a thing to do back then?
Yeah.
I can see that.
It wasn't, let's eat this or all this stuff that come out that these teams have nutritionists and all that stuff. Yeah, we didn't have all that. So
it didn't matter. There was no splurge or like, let's get our last couple of bucks.
I think if a guy was maybe splurging, it would be more so hanging out and drinking more so than that. Yo, I'm gonna go kick it. I'm going to Miami for a few days and kick it, and then come back for training. Like stuff like that guys would be more inclined to do.
Are you a cheesesteak guy in Philly?
Ishkabibbles.
What's that?
Ishkabibbles.
That's a name. That's a name of a spot.
I don't know.
Look at the way Snow's looking at us right now.
I'm thinking y'all don't know places in Philly for the cheesesteak.
I know more of like the more mainstream ones that people know nationally. I've never had that before. That's it.
That's the one hands
funny,
down.
I asked you you had them a lot, and you went right to your place. You went right to your mainstream.
I mean, that would be my first choice. I mean, a lot of other people I know that it wouldn't be their first choice. But that's mine.
All right.
Well, we need to do
and the smaller one too.
Okay.
It's two on South Street.
And you the smaller one's better than the bigger one?
I didn't say it was better. I just said that's my preference.
Oh, okay.
That was the other. I'm saying that's my preference. Don't get me to saying something's better than this.
You're right.
Yeah, that's my preference. The smaller one. The one where you can just come in, it's only like 2 seats in there. Versus the one where you go and like sit down and eat.
Mm-hmm. You're a takeout guy. I like that.
That's just, I usually get it to go. Yeah. Usually drive and park and get it to go.
And that was ishkabibbles?
I'll send it to you, man. I don't want you to get lost trying to figure this out.
Fair enough.
I want to be typing that in on the road, man.
Man. I can't tell you how to spell it. I just know how to say it, man. I might even be saying it wrong, but I know what I'm talking about.
Hey, yeah, you had the location down and the small.
Yeah, I know exactly where it's at. I know.
Definitely your spot. There's no debate about that.
So East Snow is a cheesesteak guy.
Yes.
Okay.
Man, we're gonna get slaughtered in our comments for not knowing these places.
Oh yeah.
I'm already getting ready for the comments, Eric. You set us up for that one. I'm gonna get slaughtered now.
Especially because you said we're more national guys. We're gonna get eaten alive on our YouTube channel.
Oh man! All right. Well, one of these guys, send me one. How about that? Put it in one of those little things and send me one and put it in the oven. Next time
you go to Philly, you gotta go, man. You can't, just go. You just gotta try different places and see what you like.
Yeah.
That's the plan. Yeah.
Y'all not no cheese whiz guys, are you?
Mm-mm.
When I get cheesesteaks, no, I don't. I'm gonna get dog for that too.
Thank you.
You're not either.
No.
Okay. See, but if you go to comments, I've actually gone to the Philly places and looked at comments on Yelp and stuff, and it's like, don't offer cheese whiz, don't go there. It's like, this place is a joke. Like, I'm like,
no, it's people that do eat it. I'm just saying.
Definitely.
I'm not a cheese whiz guy.
I'm not either. No.
It's a huge thing.
Oh yeah. I'm not. I went to a cheesesteak place out here, Great Western Hoagie. It's has a Philadelphia sign on, obviously. A little hole in the wall place. Good. But he asked me, he's like, what do you want? You want Swiss or you want like a provolone mozzarella mix? What are we doing with that one, guys? Come on now. I was like, oh, you guys do that? He's like, yeah. I was like, provolone mozzarella mix. Are you kidding me? Like you're actually going to ask me that? Not a huge Swiss guy.
All right. Well, we got that. We got that spot. We're gonna get that text from Eric so we can get our schedule our cheesesteak spot in the future. But that does it for us, guys. Thanks for tuning in to Bleav In 76ers presented by BetOnline. We'll see you guys next week as we really count down to training camp, and we'll be probably on the show while the guys we're getting the first updates from training camp. So remember really excited about that.
All right, take it easy.
See you guys next week.